Welcome back. Today we're going to look at section 3.5, derivatives of trig functions or trigonometric functions. And let's start with number 7. In number 7, we'd like to find the limit as x goes to 0 of sine of 3x divided by x. And what I'd like to do is start out by telling you what you cannot do. And then we'll talk a little bit about what you can do to evaluate a limit like this. The thing that you cannot do is you can't take this 3 and just move it outside of sine. Now, the limit that we really want to be able to use here is something we know about, is we know that the limit as x goes to 0 of sine x over x, that's equal to 1. And we want to be able to take this limit and use it over here to evaluate this limit. And what would be really great, right, is if you could take that 3 outside of the sine, because then you could also take the 3 outside of the limit, and then you've just got the limit that's sitting right here. But you cannot pull a 3 outside of a sine. A sine is a function, and certainly we cannot pull the 3 outside. But what we do know is that we could, so the 3 is trapped inside the sine. But what we can manipulate a little bit is we could put a 3 down on the bottom so that what is right here is the same thing as what is right here. And that's what we're going for here, is we want to make what's underneath this the same as what is inside the sine, if possible. So what I'm going to have to do in order to get a 3 on the bottom so that I have a 3x inside and a 3x on the bottom is I need to multiply the top and the bottom of that fraction by 3. So let's go ahead and do that. So I get the limit as x goes to 0 of sine of 3x over x. But now I'm going to multiply the top and the bottom by 3. So I get a 3 on top, and I get a 3 on the bottom. So all that I've really done here is I've multiplied this fraction by 1, and that's perfectly acceptable. Okay, the key is I want this value and this value to be the same. This 3, I don't really need it right now, so I could just move it outside of the limit completely. Let's do that. And so I'll rewrite this as 3. So this 3, I'm moving outside of the limit. And so I get 3 times the limit as x goes to 0 of a sine of 3x over 3x. Now, as x goes to 0, 3x goes to 0. As x goes to 0, 3x goes to 0. So this is the same limit as what I have right up here. Okay? This guy and this guy are the same thing. And if you don't believe me, we could just substitute something like let 3x equal t, and then we have this exact limit after substitution. Okay? So now this limit is just 1. So we just get 3 times 1, which is the limit of sine of 3x over 3x, which of course is 3. Now, that's the good news, is that we got the answer, and the answer is 3. The bad news is, what if you would have done the bad thing that I told you about at the beginning? The bad thing is take this 3 and move it outside of the sine. You could have moved the 3 outside of the limit. Then you get the limit of this guy, which is 1 times 3, which is the answer. But pulling that 3 out is absolutely terrible, and you should never do it. You cannot pull a constant outside of a sine or a cosine or any sort of a trig function. So don't do it. You've got to go through this process to get the answer. Even if, just luckily, by pulling it out of the sine like that, you would get the right answer. So be careful about that. This is the process that you go through to do a problem of this type.